If you're looking for someone to change your life, I can be the one who can change your life. If you're looking for someone who can change your life.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is not my real hair. You probably can. I don't even know, man.
It's only my third day out here. I don't know.
Yo. Today I'm gonna make a story time about the time I went to a trap house. The more videos I post and the more you watch my channel, you could tell I'm not like the smartest person when it comes to going places and trusting certain people and doing certain things. I'm trying to get my hands in the camera because I move my hands when I talk. But yeah, so anyways, so this story starts off during like April of this year, and basically I was going through like a depressing time in my life. Like,
none of you motherfuckers don't care enough about a brother to even just see what's going on in a nigga life. Sometimes a nigga need a hug or something, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know.
I was going through family issues. My mom got into the hospital, but she's coming out soon, so that's good. And so I was pretty depressed. And you know, me being depressed, what I do is smoke weed. I can't really say it out loud. My dad's in the other room. But yeah, so I had a friend who I've known for 5 years, and we're just going to name him K in case he sees this video and he tries to kill me, because he knows a lot of gangsters, and I already have enough problems to deal with. I'm not trying to deal with that. So yeah, we're just going to call this friend K. So this friend K, he was always a stoner. He always smoked weed, stuff like that. So I asked him, hey, can I buy something from you? Could you roll it for me? Because I don't know how to roll a blunt. And he was saying, oh yeah, sure, just like let me know when you come to the Ave, which is like this place in Jamaica that in Queens that everyone goes to. And I was just like, okay, sure. So on my way there, he was just like, oh, so I'm gonna fix it for you in the trap house. And I was just like, so you want me to come with you to a place filled with a bunch of guys with guns and stuff that I don't know? And he was just like, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, screw it, why not? Because, you know, I wasn't thinking straight. I was just really upset. So I get there. Well, I get to where we were meeting on Jamaica Ave in Queens. And me and him walk over there. And it's like the house on the outside, it looked really nice. It looked like a normal house in that area. But he was saying that the house was technically abandoned, and him and his friends just used it to, like, you know, do illegal stuff, I guess. So when I first walked in, I just saw like a big ass dog, like a big ass husky, and I was just like, what the fuck? And he was just like, oh, that's my dog. And he just keeps it there because his aunt's allergic to dogs. And I was just like, oh, okay, the dog looked like it was gonna bite me, but it was just sniffing me. I guess because, like, you know, I have a cat. It just smelled the cat on me. It was just like, oh, I got smoke with this cat. Let me just sniff you. So, yeah, then he was just like, oh, let's go upstairs. As I'm going upstairs, there's like 4 guys with like do-rags, hoodies, even though it was like May, so it was kind of too hot for a hoodie, but I don't know, I guess hoodie never comes off, I don't know. But yeah, so we went upstairs. It was like 5 guys with hoodies, and one of them was just like, oh, was that your girl? He was just like, nah, this is my friend. And I was like, yeah, we're just friends. Hey, how you doing? What's up? Then they just gave me a dap, which is like when you go like that. That's what dap is. And then we walked into this other room, and there was this mattress on the floor. And, you know, me being me, he was just like, oh, sit down. I was just like, oh, okay. But before I just examined the bed, made sure I had no bed bugs, anything like that, because I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with that. And then we just sat down because it was clean looking. And some other guy walked in and was just like, oh, who's this? It's your girl. He was just like, no, this is my friend. I was like, yeah, we're just friends. We're not dating. We're just friends. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Then he was just like, oh, you don't look like you smoke weed. I was like, yeah, makes sense. And then his friend, Kay's friend, was just like, oh, yo, let's go into this other room for a minute. We have to go do something. Then Kay was just like, all right, so I'll be right back. Just stay right there. And I was like, okay. No one else is in the room with me at the time. Then this other guy, this really tall, scary, Aki, just scary looking guy just walked in and was just like, oh, hey. And I was just like, hi. And he was like, oh, yeah. I'm gonna block that out. Oh, you're Kay's girlfriend? And I was just like, no, he's just my friend. And he was just like, oh, you don't look like you would buy this type of stuff. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, stuff happens. Stuff happens. And he was just like, oh, okay. Then in another room, I just heard this girl screaming, like she was arguing. Like she was like, nah, 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 you guys got me effed up, blah, 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 blah. This why I don't trust nobody, blah, blah, blah. Because you was cheating on me. Like it was just a whole argument I was hearing, most of the girls screaming. And then like, let's see what happened. So then as she was screaming, all of a sudden I just heard like 2 loud ass thumps, like bop, bop. Like it didn't sound like gunshots. I don't know what it was. It probably was gunshots. It was just maybe muffled under a pillow or something. I hope not. I just heard like 2 loud bangs, and then all of a sudden it just went silent. Like the girl just stopped arguing. There was just no sound. It was just nothing. As if she just died mid-argument.
Jesus Christ.
And I was just like, oh wow, that sounds really important. I was thinking this in my head. I didn't say anything. Then the other guy in the room with me, he was just like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna be back. Then he just walked out the room, closed the door, walked into the other room, I guess. And then I was just like, all right, that's very concerning. I should probably leave. And then I was looking around the wall, like the room and stuff, looking at the walls. And I saw like kind of dark brown splatters around the walls. And I was like, oh, they must just be dirty. Then I was just like, oh no, blood kind of looks like that when it dries up. Wow, that's crazy. And then my friend Kay and his other friend walked back in, and they were just like, oh yeah, sorry about that, we had to take care of some business. And I was just like, oh, that's very interesting. He was like, yeah, well, here's your stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna just go home. My dad's calling me. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Like, you know that SpongeBob meme when he's just like, oh, I'm gonna head out? That was me. And he was just like, oh, you sure? It's like 3 o'clock. Why do you have to be home so early? I was just like, oh, you know how Caribbean parents are. I'm gonna just go home. But I'll see you another time though. Probably not here, but another time. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna just go. And like, then he was just like, oh, let me walk you downstairs. So as we were walking downstairs, I saw more scary looking people. Let's see. And I also saw this girl with like, she had braids, like half of her braids were like missing, and she kept like twitching and stuff, like shaking. And she had like a bag of Fonto, which is like, I don't think they call it that anywhere else, but in New York we call it Fonto. It's basically like a tobacco leaf that people put in weed. I don't know why. Apparently it makes it stronger. That does not make it stronger. It just makes your chest feel like it's on fire and dying eternally. But that's what people do. And yeah, so before we left, my friend Kay was just like, oh, go say bye to the dealer. And I was just like, oh, okay. So he was just like, oh, yo, we're leaving. And I was just like, all right, bye, bro. And I just like gave him a dap. And he was just like, oh, you're leaving? I'm just like, yeah, oh, bye. And he was just like, oh, make sure you come back next time. And I was like, he was like, if any of your friends need anything, just hit me up. And I was just like,
Alright, I'm a fault with you.
Alright, bro.
okay. But in my head, I was just like, no, never again. And then my friend walked me to the door. It had like 8 locks. But then I just left, walked to like a more crowded, populated area. Then I just called an Uber, went home, and just rethought my life at that moment because that was crazy. Like, a lot of stuff happens to me that's crazy, but I think that was like one of the most recently crazy things that happened. Like, in high school, I was just bugging out, but since I graduated, it's just been like kind of calm. Then that situation was just like, man, everything else was just like, man. Yeah, but so that was my first story time video of me being in a trap house. And I'm going to try to make videos and post it every Sunday, because Sunday I usually am not doing anything. And I feel like a lot of people don't do stuff on Sundays. So they'll be like, oh, let me just watch a Storytime video on Sunday. So I feel like that would be a good day to post it. I don't know, I might change it later on if my channel actually gets bigger. But yeah, so bye.
It's a young nigga word every living inside of the shit that I'm kicking it legendary.